Good morning. Today we are ready to start section 7. This is section 6 here, which was the checkerboard pattern. And a checkerboard pattern is simply, where you'll do purl stitches, then knit stitches for several rows, and then you'll do the opposite in those same spaces. So that was row 6. Or section 6, and now we're ready to start section 7. Now section 7 uses a different type of honeycomb stitch. It is that reverse honeycomb with the Tunisian simple stitch, but as usual, we need to remember to do our increases. So to start the row, we'll do Tunisian simple stitch, then a full stitch, and then we will start the pattern for this. I have already done that purl row. I know that's hard for you to see, but I've already done the purl row that is to do it in between. Now a reverse stitch, you'll turn this over on the back, pick up the back loop. And I'm not real sure why Arnie chose to use this particular stitch, because I find that a little slower by turning the work over, and then you'll do the Tunisian simple, and you're just going to repeat that all the way across, because I would think that the regular purl stitch works the best, because basically what you're doing is you're bringing this down so that the next row it will look like it is a purl stitch there. Now, I would tell you to do whatever you want to do, whether you want to do that reverse stitch. I did on Tunisian Tuesday show the reverse stitch. It does not look like the typical honeycomb stitch that we see. And so, yeah, I would use the purl stitch instead of that reverse. But, if you want to follow along with the sections so that you can see the difference in them, then by all means do it the way that I'm showing right now. And I am going to do this for about 4 rows. I think it has you do 6 rows. And I will do that for the 4 rows and not full 6, because this shawl is getting pretty big as it is. But the easiest way to find that for the reverse stitch is to turn it over. And that, you're going to follow that all the way up to the center point. And that center point, of course, we're going to do a full stitch in the yarn over of the previous row, and then yarn over, and then the extended knit stitch, so that we get the increase that we need with that pattern there. So I'm going to do that. I am going to do these rows. The biggest thing is you have to remember, when you have your increases, you're going to have to decide what stitch you want to use. So I'm going to work my way up to the center point, and when I get there, we'll do the increases like we normally do, and then I'll start to work on the opposite side of that pattern. The basic thing that you want to remember to do is that you're going to do your increased stitches on the edge, in the center, and then at the end. And the way that once you've done your increases, you're going to repeat that row for all 6 rows, so that essentially it will create that honeycomb stitch, and you don't need to do anything different. You don't need to look at your stitch to determine if you need to put the Tunisian simple stitch in the next stitch or not. I know that may sound confusing, but it will work because of the way that you've done your increases and everything. All right, so I'm going to work my way up to the center and I'll meet you when I get there. Okay, I've reached the center, and so there's our yarn over from the previous row. So we'll do a full stitch there, yarn over, and then do a knit stitch through this one. It's extended, so it's chain one after the knit, and then we yarn over, and there in that yarn over the previous, do a full stitch, and then we start our pattern again on the opposite side, which is that reverse Tunisian stitch, which is going to be a little uncomfortable for this first stitch because you're going to have to get that back into there in the back, pull up that stitch, and then Tunisian simple, and then all over again the reverse stitch. And you'll get into a rhythm where you really don't have to turn it over, but initially in the beginning you may need to turn it over so that you can get into that stitch. Like I said, you'll find a rhythm where you'll be able to just go through directly into that stitch or the reverse. And I'm going to do this all the way down, reverse, Tunisian simple, until I get to the very end where we'll do the increase, and I'll meet you when I get to that point. Okay, I've gotten to the end here where we need to do our increase. The increase is a Tunisian simple stitch, then a full stitch under the bar, and then close like normal through both of those two on the end. That neat close. The return is the normal return pass. Chain one, yarn over, go through two, yarn over, go through two, all the way across. I'm not going to do that because that just seems like it's a waste of your time to follow along. But I'm going to do that all the way to the end, and then we'll start that second row. And hopefully with doing the second row for this row repeat, you can see where you're basically just doing the same thing. You're going to start with the reverse and then do the simple stitch. So I'll meet you back up when I get to that point. Now I've gotten back to the beginning, and so we're going to do our normal increase, which is a Tunisian simple stitch and then a full stitch, and then we would start the pattern again. And the pattern is that reverse stitch followed by a Tunisian simple stitch. And what you'll see here is you're just going to do this same row over and over again because the way your increases are, you're naturally going to have that Tunisian reverse stitch follow into the right pattern stitch, supposedly. I don't see that because of the increase, the way that the increase does. So, because with the normal honeycomb stitch, what you would have is you would have your reverse stitch go into your Tunisian simple stitch, and then your simple stitch would go into the Tunisian reverse stitch. Now I've already shown you where I've done the increase and then picked those two stitches up, and now I've got it here that there is a purl stitch, so I would have to do that simple stitch, Tunisian simple stitch, and then a purl stitch. You just need to follow your gut on that. I don't know if perhaps I'm increasing more stitches than I should be. That's a possibility, but I don't think I am because I am following those directions the way that they were written in the pattern. So, yeah, just watch your stitches. As I've always said before, you need to learn to read your stitches. It's It's important in not only knitting, but Tunisian crochet to read those stitches, to figure out what you're doing, what you should be doing next. But you're basically going to just do another 4 rows. Well, this says you do 6. I'm only going to do 4. And then, of course, you would do the purl row, the full purl row with your creases so that you have that line that shows what you're doing there. All right. That is it for today's video. I hope I explained it a little bit so that you can follow it. But Arnie does have in this that you should just be able to do that 1 row repeat all the way across. But I do see where you have to learn to read those stitches and then follow that pattern across. So, you know, take it for what it's worth. Do what you feel is necessary. But that Tunisian honeycomb pattern is normally a 2 row repeat. It would be the Tunisian reverse stitch followed by a Tunisian simple stitch all the way across your row. And then you would also, on the second row, you would do a Tunisian simple stitch in the reverse stitch of the previous row, and then a Tunisian reverse stitch in the Tunisian simple stitch of the row before, from the row before. Sometimes it sounds like gobbledygook. All right, guys, that is it. I'll see you again next week. Everybody have a great week. Remember to be kind to yourself, be kinder to others. See you soon. Bye.